Well, he's the first one to, in a technical sense, of making mystical theology. I think mysticism, of course, is present in the Scripture itself in a very, very deep way. But Origen is the first, and Origen is primarily a biblical interpreter. Origen is the first one where you can talk about a real theology of mysticism. And that theology is very, very influential then, both in Eastern Christianity and also in Western Christianity. So there is a sense in which you could call him a founding figure, especially when we think of mystical theology. I mean, Origen, of course, was a controversial figure, although most people today think that the later condemnations of Origen, centuries after he died, were probably not completely fair. But he's also very influential. Everybody read him, and everybody uses him.
I've known him for his allegory,
yeah,
his interpretive method.
Right.
But I didn't know this connection with mystical.
Well, I mean, they're really
together.
Yeah, they do. They fit together exactly because, again, he doesn't deny that there's an historical sense to the letter of the Bible, but he wants you to go beneath that and find Christ present in the Scriptures in a deep spiritual way. And we often use the term allegory. Allegory is one of the methods. I think it's much better to talk in general about spiritual interpretation. This doesn't deny our modern scientific study of the Bible, which is very, very important, but it does say that's not the only way to read the Bible, and that's maybe not the most profitable way for the individual spiritual life. That is, you have to read the Bible in its spiritual depth as well. And I think even biblical scholars today need to insist on the academic study, historical, critical study of the Bible is absolutely central. But biblical scholars today also recognize the Bible's been read in different ways over the course of its history, and the tradition of biblical spiritual interpretation is very important. Origen is a foundation, his commentary on the Song of Songs and his homilies on the Song of Songs. They don't survive in full, they only survive in part, but they are the interpretation that shows the spiritual reading of that book of love is that the bridegroom is indeed Christ, and the bride is the church, but also the individual soul in the church. And that's very powerful in later interpretation. In the patristic period, Gregory of Nyssa, in the medieval period with Bernard of Clairvaux and William of Saint-Thierry, later stage, Teresa of Avila writes a partial commentary on the Song of Songs. So that spiritual reading of the Song of Songs has nourished Christian mysticism for many centuries.